Hello, everyone. Welcome along to the VCO Chat Show hosted by me, Ben Constanduros. This week, it's all about Le Mans, considered the biggest and most widely seen event ever in esports racing. Here at VCO, we are passionate about merging the world of real and esports racing, something I'm also passionate about, and that is why tonight's show is important to us all. We could have chosen to speak to the star real names that you already know in the real world of racing, but I wanted to highlight the esports stars that had a huge influence on the victory for Rebellion Williams Esports. Please welcome to the show, Kuba Brzezinski and Niko Wisniewski. Boys, congratulations firstly. Kuba, how are we feeling after the weekend?
Finally rested at least, and still hasn't properly sunk in that we've won the official Le Mans 24 hours. So I guess it's gonna take a bit of time. Now it's a bit of a busy time with all the interest that we are getting, but yeah, it's awesome to see.
Niko, you were in the car for that last stint. That must have been the biggest pressure you ever felt?
Well, I don't know if that was the biggest pressure, but if you have the whole team behind your back and everybody's just counting to bring car safe home, I think it was a huge pressure. One of the the biggest one I had, but I handled it. So it was intense battle for sure, especially two last stints because we almost ran out of fuel. But yeah, we just won it, and big kudos to guys.
Kuba, you are not only representing Williams Esports, which you are comfortable and familiar with doing, you were also representing a real-world team in Rebellion. Did that add an extra pressure for you?
I would say it did add a bit of a worry for us because we obviously had to race with two real-life drivers. So at first we weren't sure how good they were going to be because Louis and Rafael didn't have any experience with the game. But thankfully, the guys were super professional. They trained really hard and they took it very seriously and they really wanted to win it. So, yeah, I mean, it was awesome to work with them and hopefully we can repeat it someday.
Niko, talk a little bit more about the kind of preparations that you guys had to go through, not only for practicing for yourselves, and of course, you were lucky to have, I think, 4 cars in the race and also running the same car, which is very helpful. But more than that, you had to train these real-world drivers that tend to have egos from real world and having to ask you questions.
Well, yeah, at the beginning, of course, they were asking a lot of questions about the game, but we are happy to, answer them because we always wanted to achieve the best result for the whole team. And I think we were practicing together a lot at the beginning, just to show them what are the most crucial points in this game. But they were straight on the pace, so we were really happy about that. And then we just started to set up the car properly to have that comfortable feelings for 4 of us. We achieved that, so. I think it couldn't be better.
Any idea just how long it took to prepare for Le Mans?
Well, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And how many hours per day, Niko, were you on the sim?
I have no idea, to be honest. It needs to be divided by the time that we are practicing on the track and time we're spending on Motec to set up the car. So yeah. 2 different things, but I think 3 or 4 hours maybe per day. But yeah, maybe too much. 2-3 hours per day. Yeah,
a huge amount of commitment. But Kuba, did it feel like you were entering something historical, something much larger than sim racing had ever seen?
Yeah, to be fair, I think a bit subconsciously I tried not to think about it. I mean, you don't want to add any extra pressure than you already have. You already represent Williams in all the races that you do, and you want to win every race that you do. So you don't really need to think about, a million people watching you on top of that or something like this, or representing Rebellion on top of that. So the pressure is enough. I think if you have no pressure, that is not good as well. You need pressure helps you perform. But yeah, the normal pressure that we have in everyday racing is enough for me. So I tried not to think about it too much.
And Kuba, are you a real world Le Mans fan? Have you ever been before?
Yeah, we've watched Le Mans like pretty much every year, but I've never been to Le Mans. But we are actually going this year for another competition. So yeah, I mean, at least now we know a few people there. We can go and say hi to the Rebellion guys and everything. So that's going to be fun as well.
As champions, as winners of the Le Mans 24 Hours, Nicodem, you're going to go down in the history books. It may well be the only 24-hour Le Mans race of this kind of nature that we ever see, especially with the amount of real-world interest. Is it sinking in yet that it's a historical moment?
Well, maybe not yet, but you know that all media stuff going on around that race, it's just punching me in the face every single day. You know, today my phone was on fire for a whole day, so like the Polish media are also interested in that race. So I think for most of the time, I thought that it's going to be huge, but not that huge, you know. I told Kuba that if we will win the race, we'll go to the TV shows for sure. But it was kind of a joke, but now it's not a joke now. So yeah. Yeah, you know, it was a really big race, and you couldn't compare it to any other competition we had before. But I hope that we will have even bigger events in the future.
You guys are obviously representing Williams Esports for the last couple of years, and with Robert Kubica coming into the team, was it last year for Williams? Did you feel like you were part of something greater in Poland, both of you being Polish drivers, Kuba?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, if we joined another esports org that could, you know, in esports be just as big, you know, put any name you want in there, it wouldn't be as big in Poland, because if I say in Poland that I am in Williams, then everyone knows what Williams is. This is this F1 team that Robert Kubica drove for. So yeah, I mean, it helps a lot with like the publicity and people recognizing what you do and everything like that. It's a big boost for sure. Yeah.
And Nicodem, were you a Robert Kubica fan growing up?
Yeah, for sure. I was watching every single F1 race when Robert Kubica was racing. So you know, yesterday after the race, I just saw the message from him that he congrats me for winning. Yes. So it was like, what the hell is going on? You know, like it can't be possible. So yeah, it's really amazing.
If there's nothing else, to get a message from Robert Kubica congratulating you is deal done. You don't have to go sim racing anymore. You're done. You can quit. You can hang up your steering wheel.
Today I can quit.
Great. Let's rewind back. I know a lot of people have tuned in just desperately to hear about your Le Mans experiences, but I want to know a little bit more about you guys as drivers, because you're both not specialists on one particular platform. You are really broad in what you do and the competitions that you take part in. Kuba, just talk a little bit about how you got involved in sim racing in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, then I have to do, I guess, about F1 and Kubica again, because, you know, when you are a Polish kid and you get interested in motorsport and you watch Robert get all those podiums and, you know, get the win in F1, then you want to, you know, try something like this, you know, compete as well. But I mean, obviously motorsport is really expensive, so sim racing is a really good alternative for that. I mean, as they say, the cars might not be real, but the racing is. So and the competition is. So yeah, I mean, around 2010, I got involved in some just small leagues and started sim racing, and it just went on from there.
How did you know about sim racing in the first place?
I think I actually found out about it from YouTube. Like I was just watching some F1 videos, you know, onboards and highlights and stuff like this, and I just stumbled upon some sim racing videos, and I was like, I mean, what is this? I mean, the guy has like a steering wheel at home, and he's racing as well. Like it looks really cool.
And now with multiple trophies, what's the trophy you got behind you?
That's a trophy for SRO at Spa last year.
Yes. So ACC platform racing on RF2 as well, and iRacing. You really do have the ability to cross over. And Nicodem, I guess your first starring moment was on Gran Turismo.
Well, not the first on Gran Turismo. The first actually was on the Richard Burns Rally. It's a funny story because the husband of my sister was driving there, like racing online on some Polish rally leagues, and I just tried that and say, yeah, it's nice fun. Yeah, it's really really good. He has got the wheel Logitech DFGT, and I was like, what the hell is hell expensive, you know? uh, yeah, but I was trying to race on the keyboard, like the gamepad, but it was nothing to compare with the wheel. So I bought my first wheel and started to race on the railing on the Richard Burns Rally, and then racing on Air Factor 1 F1 Challenge, I remember, and then that was the episode with Gran Turismo and GT Academy as well.
And so, when you decided to go sim racing, Nicodem, did you have the desire always to do some real world stuff? Because of course that's where Gran Turismo Academy took you.
Yeah. I think maybe not everyone from sim racing, but like, I don't know, maybe 90% of us wants to be a racing driver at the beginning. So that was the passion you had before. And now the sim racing is something you can do, like a substitute, as Kuba say, alternative way. So yeah, it was. I always wanted to be a racing driver, but now I'm just trying to focus on sim racing and just be the best here behind the virtual car. But of course, if I would have a chance to jump in a racing car again, because I have few episodes, I would be really happy about it. Yeah. But I think the GT Academy was like a milestone for me to, believe in my talent, in my skill. So yeah, it was a big moment, I guess.
And is it possible, do you feel, to be the best you can be on all the different platforms? Because you do have specialists. You have people who just focus on RF2 or just focus on iRacing. And therefore, to come in and be competitive against those people must be super hard.
Well, I would say it is possible, but it's so hard, If you will practice only on one platform, you'll be much better, I think. So yeah, it's the problem with sim racing is that when I switch from, I don't know, Air Factor 2 to iRacing, for example, I just need a different skills. You just need to learn the game differently. For example, like on Air Factor 2, is a simple thing. On Air Factor 2, I'm just braking for like 100%, doing trial braking, and everything is fine. But on iRacing, if I would just brake for 100%, it would just slow the tires. There is no way to do that, And it's really strange because I was driving a real racing car and I was braking for like 80%, and the engineer said to me, "Come on, you just need to brake for 100%. What are you doing?" Yeah. So yeah, it was kind of ridiculous for me after that. So I just found myself the best in Honor Factor 2. So that's why I'm driving here.
But you're not just driving here, because I've seen you in race room competitions and stuff recently as well.
Well, yeah. I'm just talking about that race we had in the weekend. But yeah, we are racing also on our race room. But I think it's really similar. It's has got the same engine as our Factor 1 or 2. Yeah, am I right?
I'm not the expert. Kuba?
Yeah, I think it does. Like it's based on the same engine or something like this.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you're totally correct with the braking pressure. I feel the same, even though I'm an amateur. I know when you were supposed to brake, and it just doesn't make any sense. Kuba, what are your kind of preferences and difficulties across the whole sim racing spectrum?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm a bit like Niko. I mean, we learned our sim racing pretty much on RF1. And you just, when you develop your driver skills, you learn some tricks and stuff that works in that specific game. And when you do it for like five or 6 years, you just can't really unlearn it after that. So yeah, when we tried iRacing, for example, you need to have a complete different driving style. And we just can't really do it. I mean, it doesn't suit us. So like we can be good on RF2 and race room, for example, because our driving style works there, and we are, I guess, good enough where we can jump into ACC and still get a decent result there as well, because our driving style again works pretty well there. But yeah, there are some other titles that don't really suit us. So I mean, it is what it is. we are just going to focus on the titles that are, good for us. And yeah, I mean, thankfully we've got competitions like this on RF2, so it's only better for us.
Yeah, exactly. Because a lot of the big competitions across the last couple of months have been focused on iRacing, presumably because of the ability and the ease of getting everybody involved and not having necessarily the worry of having maybe some issues. Talking of issues, I think we're deep enough into the program to kind of bring those up. Your opinions on the problems that we saw during the 24 hours. I think your car was involved in the Team Redline issue, weren't they?
Yeah, it was. I mean, I guess I can just say it was expected because, I mean, as many races of 24-hour races as we've done on RF2, pretty much every single one of them has had some issues. So it was expected, but thankfully the organizers were really well prepared for that. We actually practiced the restart procedure in the test races and everything, so everyone knew what they needed to do. And yeah, like when the restart just came, everyone was super organized. We weren't surprised by them or anything, so it was just work like normal. And yeah, we were involved in that red line issue where Max started having screen freezes, and we were just behind him. I mean, we got super lucky with that. I can admit that already. I mean, because we got no damage from the contact somehow. I don't know how that is possible. So we could just continue. And yeah, their car was damaged pretty badly. So, I mean, the luck was on our side, I guess. But yeah, you can't win if you are really unlucky. And thankfully this time it was on our side.
And Niko, dealing with those issues that everybody knows exists is down to experience, right? It's down to knowing they exist and finding out a way around them. And perhaps some of the real world teams or people with the lack of information and experience in RF2 suffered more because they don't have that experience. Is that correct?
For sure. But also, I had that screen freezes on Refractor 2 for like past 2 or 3 years. And I couldn't do anything to avoid it. So yeah, luckily now I just found a new way to avoid it, and it works. But the all past advices from everybody didn't work, even from development, like from the game devs. It didn't work. So I was really annoyed because I lost a few tournaments, few races because of that, because I had a screen freezes in home. But yeah, luckily yesterday, I can't even remember. It was yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. We won the biggest race. So yeah, really happy about it.
And let's just talk a little bit about those last couple of stints. I was convinced, and I was on commentary at the time, that you were needing to do a splash and dash, that you weren't going to be able to last to the end of the race. Just how close did you come to running out of fuel?
Well, that was pretty intense because that's much. At the first moment, that our strategy, our plan was to get me in the car for the last, 4 stints, because I had really decent pace and I could bring the car home with the best possible pace. So yeah, that was the first strategy call. But then because of the red flag, we noticed that we will have not enough fuel to finish the race. We saw that Jerne from Bikos was saving the fuel for the past 2 stints when Louis was in the car. So when I jump in, I had like two stints, and they say that I need to save the fuel. And it was, at the first moment I thought it's just not possible, because to do the 10 laps you also have to save fuel, just tiny bit, do it lift and coast for like 3 or 4 straights, and you will have like enough fuel consumption to do the 10 laps. But I had to do 11 laps, so I just had to save 1 lap on the stint. So it was kind of stressful, especially that we had almost, not even half a minute advantage. So yeah, but luckily I had also good advices from the race engineer. We worked with Martin Prock from Formula 2, so he was really helpful for me to save the fuel and have a decent pace. So yeah, it works out, and The best thing is that the lap times wasn't that bad as I expected.
They were not that bad.
Yeah.
They really weren't that bad. I couldn't believe that you were still doing that pace and saving fuel as well. Did you feel as though your teammates are obviously running second for the majority of the last stint? Did you feel that that kind of helped? And was there much communication between you and them on trying to keep Simoncic behind them?
Well, I don't know, because in that race we just had that strategy that driver is only driving. He if I have a lot of informations, I will get a bit distracted or anything. So I have my strategy and I didn't care for anything else. But yeah, at the end, I just saw that if Michael was saving the fuel as well. But if Jernej passed him, he will also. I think he will be a team player and he will fight him back because there's nothing to lose for their team. So, yeah.
Well, you guys are champions. You guys are the winners of the 24 Hours of Le Mans Virtual. Kuba, where do you go from here? What's next for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, now everything feels kind of small. Like, what am I supposed to do? Another race in 2 days that, no one pretty much cares about compared to the one we've just won. But yeah, I mean, you just need to continue grinding and do your best and hope for another big opportunities like this. And in the meantime, just try to win, as much as you can of the smaller races and just showcase your talents and hope good things keep happening to you.
And you're coming to Le Mans in September for the final of the Le Mans Esports on a totally different platform.
Yep. On Forza. So it's a really different game to us. Like we've only done one race on it, and that was the LAN event that we've won in January. So we'll need to prepare a lot for this. I mean, it's one of those games like ACC where we've got no experience on it, but I guess we are talented enough where we can still somehow get a decent result even with no experience. I guess it kind of suits our driving style, I guess. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of different current tracks combinations there, so it will be really tricky to prepare. But I mean, we'll see. We'll do our best, and hopefully we can win this one as well.
And the key thing is to make sure you don't fly back to Poland until at least Monday, and you are able to actually enjoy the 24-hour race itself and have a good time and have a bit of a party on Saturday night as well. Very important.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I think unfortunately we're gonna be doing our races when the real race is. If I'm not mistaken.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I might be lying. I'm not too sure, but hopefully not. Hopefully we can do our races and then enjoy the proper real race. That would be really cool.
Absolutely. Well, guys, congratulations. As I say, you are 24-hour virtual champions, and you will go down in history books. And Poland should be proud. Williams should be proud because they can't win anything in the real world, so they can win in the virtual. And actually, yesterday was great for Williams totally, wasn't it? Because they won both the races in the F1 Esports thing. Well done. I'm sure I'll be chatting about you in another championship very soon. And thank you very much for joining us here on the VCO Esports Chat Show.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you for having us.
That's it then. Don't know who we'll be seeing next week, but it's always a mix. We've got the SRO Championship coming up at the weekend, the finals of that. So perhaps we'll try and grab another champion as feels like the world of the big sim racing events starts to wind down as the real world starts to wind back up. But we'll stay here. We'll keep you updated with everything that's happening here in the sim racing world. My name's been Ben Constanduros, and we'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.